So you may have heard the commercials, 51% savings on your car insurance. Join today. Let's get you the discount. 90% savings on car insurance. You could pay $23 a month. Are those true? We're going to dive in, and I'm going to prove one of them correct today and show you what I did to save 51% on my car insurance. Hey guys, Mark with Think Insurance. No, this is not an advertisement. This is just my channel where I teach people how to get better with insurance, understand their coverages. That way you guys get the best savings. I happened to fall into a little bit of a test, and that test saved me over 51.2% on my car insurance. Now, I'm not going to mask and secretly make you guys watch a whole long video based on this to find out the company and all the information. We're going to dive right into it. I'm going to show you what I did, how I made it work, and the way that you can use it if it's something that you're interested in. Keep in mind, mileage may vary because this is what I did. So a few weeks ago, I'll link a video up here where I did a review on Progressive Snapshot because I've been going through each of the company's telematics programs. I did one on State Farm, I did one on Progressive, I did one on AAA, and some other companies. Back a year ago, I did one on a company called Root Insurance where their whole driving system was based on your driving. And what they did is they would only take in customers that could prove for 30 days that they were a really good driver. Well, in turn, that made a heavy emphasis on the driving. A lot of companies saw that as they were doing the telematics systems already, where if you're with them, you can get 10% up front, which is common, and you would do a test drive. If you did really good, you can get up to 20 to 25% off. If you did bad, it could go in the opposite direction. Well, whether Progressive knew that Root Insurance was doing this or not, they created a program very similar to it where now you can do their snapshot. It's called the road test, and they let you do that right now. You don't even have to be a customer. You can actually do the test drive for 30 days. It'll show you what discount would apply if you were to join Progressive, and that's ingenious. I tested it myself. I'm with Citizens Insurance, and I was like, okay, let's test this out and see what kind of discount they give you. Well, at the end of it, they ended up giving me a rate on my car insurance matching all of the coverages that I have today, exactly the same coverages. It was 51% less. I'm actually looking at my policy right now, and I paid $2,181 per year for car insurance. I do have really good coverages. I'm in Michigan, so our rates are really high, but that's actually not too bad for two vehicles. One's full coverage, one's not. What Progressive offered me is a 6-month policy, and I kind of feel like I can bump that to a year policy if I go into their system, but they offered me $558 per year. That's $1,116 per year versus the $2,181. So it was over $1,000 less expensive for the identical policy. Now we're going to get into the home part at the end of the video because that was a slightly different, which did offset some of the numbers. Step one is you download the app. There's a road test app. It takes you about 10 seconds. I will link that below, or you can go to this website here and download it right now. Keep in mind, I am not paid by Progressive. However, I am going to put a referral code. If you don't use it, that's perfectly fine. You're like, F this guy, I don't want to, whatever. If you use it, I get an Amazon gift card from them if you do the trial, and you get all the way through. Once you download the app, it's really simple. You don't have to do much. You don't have to give a whole lot of data to them because they don't need your information. You're not doing a quote at this time. You can bypass it, and it offers to do that, where you can go straight into a quote. I wouldn't recommend that. I would say do the app first, see what you think. If you like what the discount becomes, then move forward. But curiosity got the best of me because in the video where I talked about the Progressive Snapshot and I found the road test there in that review, was that I was going to let my phone stay on all the time to see how bad of a discount I could get. Because most of my driving, I listen to YouTube videos, and I do that without looking at the screen. Well, the computer doesn't know that, and the phone or the app won't know that, so it would have triggered that I have a lot of heavy phone usage. But I didn't realize that it would trigger it in a different way. We'll get into that in just a second. So you download the app, put the code in if you want, or just use it. Once the app's installed and you've given it the basic information, that's it. You start it. You shouldn't turn it off ever, and you have to give it permission to always use your navigation. But I can tell you after 30 days, you can shut it right off. I did myself. So what I did is I decided to drive good. I decided to see if I could go 30 days without doing it. Day one, I messed up and I was touching my phone. I got a little bit of a strike there. They do what's called events. And these events are showing you negative strikes. It's just a nice word to say you messed up. What it does is it gives you a percentage of the trip. So what they're really measuring, and they heavily measure on the screen, is how many miles you've driven and then how many events you've had. Now, event could be hard braking, heavy acceleration, using your phone or phone usage or distracted driving while driving, and then the time of day that you drive. Those are the main key components that they're looking at. How I was able to get through this was by not using the phone. I tried to put it down as much as possible. It was a little difficult because this was during the holiday season, and my wife was texting me all this stuff about what I need to get and where I need to bring things, and not being able to respond to those messages was very, very tough to do. I also tested to see if my watch would affect through the Bluetooth, if it would know that I was looking at my watch while I was driving, because you can reply to messages on there. You can also hit the talk button and talk to it to send messages to people. I quickly realized that it slowly started to figure that piece out. It started to realize that my phone was being used somehow and it was communicating back and forth. They can't see your messages that you're sending and whatnot because it can only track where you're driving and how long, fast, and things like that. So I wasn't worried about that part, but I wanted to make sure that if I was using something like this, how often would it affect my distracted driving score? Well, it didn't affect it a whole lot. I every once in a while would look at it and I would get about a 1% distracted driving on average. So it would be 0.01 whenever I looked at the scores. But the cool part is, this system, I don't know if it's just that it's new or that it is built this way, is not touchy at all. I drove fast, I brake fast, I did some fast turnings, I never slammed on the brakes, but it almost never recorded my negative driving habits. So whether I'm really a good driver and I don't realize it, or their app is really not sensitive, which is amazing for you guys. For those of you who have already downloaded this system, don't worry. If you're getting the 0.1s and the 0.01 strikes every other time, it's not really going to count against you. At the end of the day, I got a pretty big discount. Now, there's one last piece that was really cool that the Progressive app did, is it knew almost every single time I wasn't the driver. It realized that when I had my phone open all the time, because I would ride with friends at work to lunch, or I would ride with my wife to a store, or whatever the case is, it automatically, almost every single time, would tell me that I was a passenger, and it would automatically remove that from my scoring. So what kind of discount did they give me? It was a 20% discount that they took off of my insurance policy. Now that in turn made me decide to do a quote with them. I was curious, how big of a discount would that actually affect? Because in most companies, when they say 10 or 15 or 20%, it's in a category. So what that means is this car has a category and this car has a category and your policy premium has a category, and then all of your discounts are maxed out on that. And what they do is they discount those categories, so it's not a 20% across the board. Well, it felt like it in this case because the discount cutting my bill in half was crazy. I inputted my one accident that I've had, so it knows about my claim that I've had in the past, and everything turned out really good. So when you look at the discounts, there was one piece that I noticed that they did offer and give me, which wasn't amazing, but it was a sign online discount, and it's a one-time discount. Now I looked that up. It's about a 9% discount in my state. It can vary, but that seems to be most common. So I got to remember that when the policy renews, if they're giving that discount across the board, that I'm going to see about a $45 to $50 every 6 months. So I'm going to add $100 to that. So essentially that $1,060 some odd dollars turns into $900. So just short of $1,000 savings overall. It does give me a pay in full discount, which I'm more than happy to do, because with Progressive, if anyone has worked with them before, they give a big pay in full discount. If you continuously pay in full, it's not a one-time thing. You continuously do that, they're going to knock off $50 to $100 there alone. If I were to remove all of the discounts, 90% of these discounts that I wouldn't get normally, there's no way I wouldn't be saving money. Well, why wouldn't you join right now? It should be instant. You tell customers to join instantly. I get that part. But my home insurance goes up about $200. So right now they're saying $1,328 is my yearly on the home. And that's not digging into the specifics of what coverages I have. I currently pay about $1,084 a year. So I'm going up about $260, $70 per year additional. So at the end of the day, I could save $500 to $700 a year on my insurance, and odds are I'm gonna switch to it. The part that I have a small fear against, I've been with Citizens for close to 6 years now, and when I leave them and I join Progressive, it's starting over with what's called the longevity discount. And if I find a really good rate in the future, then I'm not going to have that 5+ years. That's where it caps out, is 5+ years with one company. So I really need to stick with Progressive for the next 5 years. They are very consistent and their rates have been very stable. So I don't see that's necessarily going to be an issue there, but it's something that I do need to think about and work through on my end to make sure that what packages I've added, because I've added certain packages to my policy to make sure that I have additional coverages. The home on the Progressive doesn't have my extra cost for my camera equipment, so I have to add that additional endorsement on there. At the end of the day, what I assume that I'm going to be saving is somewhere around that $500 mark once I connect all the packages together, get all the coverages the way that I want them. And I think personally that's going to be worth it to switch. So I may be making a move here shortly. Now, I've been happy with Citizens Insurance. They've been a great company. We've actually had a couple claims with them. One of the pieces that I really enjoy and like about them is that they only go back in my state 3 years, where Progressive goes back 5 years. Now, keep in mind, Progressive is cheaper at that 5-year mark because they don't rate as heavy when you have those claims, where Citizens is going to rate a little bit heavier because I'm slowly not becoming a fit for them, which means my insurance score may have dropped, and having that claim on there mixed with that is one of the reasons that Citizens hasn't really gone down in cost and Progressive has. Progressive's like, okay, we get this. The average profile, married, owns a home, has kids, no one's driving yet, but the 2 cars, one's full coverage, one's not. That risk profile with us is a lot lower than the risk profile that Citizens is looking for. So at the end of the day, I really like this system. I love the fact that I can test drive this and do a road test. I would recommend that you guys try it. It's definitely something worth checking into. Let me know in the comments below. Is this something that you guys are interested in? Also, if you think I should switch, let me know in the comments below. Because the curiosity has my interest, I'm going to make a follow-up video to this where I'm going to compare Progressive and Citizens. And I'm going to use my policy as an example to show when you're switching from one company to the next, how it's not always an even comparison. These are the things that you should definitely look out for. So if you guys are definitely interested in that, don't forget to comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. But subscribe if you're interested in watching that video next. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I will see you in the next one.